We will discuss the squad in detail. We'll also talk about the Ashes Test that started in Headingley. But let's introduce our guests for all of you. Jamie Alters here with me. Also joining me, Vedam Jaishankar. What do they think about the T20 future of Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma? We'd ask them. But first, let's get you up to speed with all the details from that selection announcement. So, India's latest T20I squad does not include the names of Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, the country's top two leading run-getters in the format respectively, which has once again raised the question: has Team India moved past Kohli and Rohit for good in T20Is? Or is this another case of that rest and rotation yarn? Let's start with the facts. Neither Rohit Sharma nor Virat Kohli have played a single T20I for India since the team's exit from the T20 World Cup semi-final stage in November of 2022. In that time, India have played 9 T20Is. 6 against New Zealand, home and away, and 3 versus Sri Lanka. Now that Kohli and Rohit have again been left out for a fourth successive bilateral T20I series, what assumption can we make of their continued absence? Kohli is 34. He has scored 4,008 runs in a T20I career that began in 2010. He has an average of 52.74 and a strike rate of almost 138. In 2022, Kohli scored 781 runs from 20 matches at an average of 55.78 and a strike rate of 138.23, scoring his first century in T20Is. In 2023 IPL, he was the fourth highest run scorer with 639 runs, inclusive of 2 centuries and 6 50s. Now, let's talk about Rohit Sharma. He fared poorly in the IPL with 332 runs at 20.75 with just 2 50s in 16 innings. Last year, Rohit managed 656 runs from 29 T20Is with a strike rate of 134, crossing 50 just 3 times. He's 36 and injury prone, and Hardik Pandya's continued role as India's T20I captain suggests that BCCI sees the all-rounder as the new leader. The next T20 World Cup's a year away, and if we look at Kohli's and Rohit's continued exclusion from India's T20I squad over 8 months, it seems that the selectors and team management do not have the pair in their plans. By opting for younger and faster strikes and Shubman Gill, Yashasvi Jaiswal and Tilak Varma, who attack from ball one, the signs are that Team India are now investing in youth for the future, which leaves Kohli and Rohit seemingly firmly on the outside. Let's then ask this question to Jamie as well as Vedam. Clearly, BCCI seem to have moved on, Jamie, from Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, and I think it's very clear that they are looking at Hardik Pandya and now Suryakumar Yadav, the vice captain for the series, as the leadership group, the core leadership group under whom they'd have the other young members like Yashasvi, Shubman and Tilak Varma.
Yeah, good evening, Mia. It's very evident to me, at least, that this is the way that Team India, the management, the selectors, the think tank is thinking. Because, like you mentioned, if it's been coming up to what, 7.5 months, 8 months, whatever it is, that Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma combined have not played a single T20I, and I believe this is the 4th bilateral series squad that's been picked since their last appearance, which was unfortunately that rather one-sided semi-final against England in November 2022. The signs are that this is not just rest and rotation, because had this been, and look, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli have very rightfully got a lot of rest, but it's never been for such a long period away from one format. Now, if you compare them individually, man to man, like you outlined, Rohit Sharma's stats are far weaker than Virat Kohli's. And when you're not the captain, and Hardik Pandya, I mean, this we've all been saying this. It's just a matter of time before Hardik Pandya is officially named the captain for the next 12 months at least, because who knows how things will be this time next year around or post the T20 World Cup of next year. And in regards to Virat Kohli, yes, he had a very good year in T20Is last year, but there was still enough reason to believe, maybe the team has moved on from him. But then when he scores all those runs in the IPL, right, at a decent strike rate, 200, 650s, if he's not being picked after that, to my mind at least, this is a clear sign that the team has moved on from him. We've discussed, all three of us, many times the concept of a farewell match. I don't think Virat and Rohit are those kind of people. But that said, there's enough people who will have you believe that no, this is very much rotation because look, it's not a T20I year. There was a WTC final. There's an ODI World Cup. They're just being rested. I don't buy into any of it. And you look at the squad, Meher, that's been picked for these 5 T20Is. Just 2 players above the age of 30. That is enough indication of what you mentioned. They want youth, and I keep on going back to that 2007 T20 World Cup when the squad put together by Dilip Vengsarkar included roughly the same age players. So, long story short, I don't see either of them playing a T20I for India again.
Vedam, for Virat Kohli supporters, for Virat Kohli fans, they'd say, is he paying the price for age? Because you can say that when it comes to performance, you can say that about Rohit Sharma. He hasn't been performing well. But Virat Kohli, you look at his T20 numbers, internationals or IPL. I mean, a lot of people would say, come on, he scored more runs than Yashasvi Jaiswal in this edition of the IPL. India's number 3, they've tried Rahul Tripathi in Virat Kohli's absence. That hasn't worked out as well. What would you say to all those people who think that Virat Kohli should very much be there in India's T20I squad?
Hi, Meher. Let's look at the facts now. There's more than a year to go for the T20 World Cup. What exactly are we going to learn sending somebody like Virat Kohli on a tour of West Indies to play T20? He hasn't played against New Zealand. He's not played against Sri Lanka. And now he is not going to play against the West Indies. In case things go wrong, I mean, it's the right time actually to try out new hands. And you have one whole year to try out a whole lot of youngsters who have impressed in the IPL and other matches. And if they can raise the bar and match up, why not? Maybe because T20 after all is a young man's game. You need to play a lot of fearless cricket. You need to play a lot of fearless cricket. And I think it's the young who actually have youth and arrogance on their side, and they would be much, much better off, not giving too much respect for any of the bowlers or the fielders or anything. But having said that, in this 1 year, if they don't come good, and if you're going to play Pakistan or Australia, you can always fall back and say, Virat Kohli, you can get one more player. But as of now, with Hardik Pandya there, you don't need a second power center. It's better to give him the head, give him a lot of youngsters around him, and see if you can build to a higher level of the game. And a T20 international is really a much, much higher level at some places, at least where instead of IPL. So I think the move is right if you're going to cast your net wide and if you're trying to unearth fresh talent. And definitely we need to unearth a lot of good, young, fresh talent within the next 1 year.
Okay, this is the question that we're putting to all of you as well. What do you think when it comes to Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli in T20 internationals? Is it really the end of the road for both of them, given that since the World Cup last year, they've not played any T20 internationals for India? The other thing being, Virat Kohli has still been scoring runs. He's been scoring run in international T20s and he's been scoring runs in the IPL as well. Then is it okay to drop him from the squad? Is it okay to just say that, you know what, we are going for a young squad, so we're not going to have Virat Kohli in there? That's the question that we're asking. Do let us know in the comment section below what you think. But Jamie, in the World Cup last year for India, he was the highest scorer, Virat Kohli, 296. We all remember what he did against Pakistan. Just to see him bat like that, to know that, India will have that support at number 3. You can get good openers in, Yashasvi Jaiswal. You can get Shubman Gill to come and fire from the first ball. But that experience, do you think just for that experience, just for the kind of form that Virat Kohli is in, that maybe, India needs to look at that decision of having him in the T20 squad?
Maybe if the T20 World Cup were starting next month, I would buy into that and say, yes, you need that because look, you have the numbers, you have the pedigree, 4,000 plus runs, a very good average, a good strike rate. But again, Meha, the T20 World Cup starts this time next year, right? In that time, from what we know of Virat Kohli, he's not going to shirk away responsibilities. He's going to try and do all he can to become a world beater in the test format. And he's going to try his rear end off to win India a one-day World Cup. I think his priorities right now, though he publicly won't admit it, his priorities are helping India's test team do well to get back some of that lost glory. He's had 4 terrible years as a test player. And there's that final World Cup that he wants to have his energies focused on. Like Vedam said, what are we going to get by having Virat Kohli play a few series, right? So again, because the T20 World Cup is still 12 months away, it's too far away for us to surmise and guess what Virat Kohli will be like. What if he has another horrible 6 months, right, across formats? Then you've invested more time in someone who's down on his luck, right? So this is the right time. This is a transition phase. This is a reset phase. Yes, in theory, if the scoreline is 4-2, you would want someone to play that. Again, it's not a word I think is a natural fit, but I cannot find another word than anchor to play that role. But you have to ask the question, how many times has Virat Kohli's anchor innings actually translated into Indian wins? Surprisingly, not too many. Yes, the Pakistan match was outstanding, but a lot of those runs did not necessarily result in wins. So you have to look at the bigger picture. Will whoever comes in, I don't know who will bat at 3. We've seen Sky's got hundreds from 3, Sky's got hundreds from 4. We don't know. Whoever it is, let's not assume him to come in and do Virat Kohli type things. But whoever it is, that person has to start filling in those boots, right? Even if Virat Kohli were to score 500 in the next 10 T20Is, you need to plan for the future. And this is the right time. So I'm all for him and Rohit Sharma being
I feel like clubbing them together is probably not the right thing. Would you agree? Yes, Rohit Sharma has not been scoring runs, but Virat Kohli has been scoring runs. So a lot of people would say that, look, you've not found a good replacement at number 3. Just let him be there. You tried Rahul Tripathi, that wasn't working. Transition has to be slow. Do you have a reply to that?
I'll just say it very, very briefly before we shift to Vedam for the same answer. Yes, the opening options, they're much, much more, exciting opening options. There's no visible option of the Virat Kohli caliber. But like I said, you have to try somewhere, right? If Tilak Verma batting 3-4 has been Mumbai Indians' best batsman over the last 2 years, then by all means, try him out, right? Someone has to start that reset button. And I'm not at all surprised that reset button was officially pressed on the first day of Ajit Agarkar's tenure in charge.
Vedam, quickly then, I wanted to ask you the same thing that, one of the problems that we saw with India in the T20 World Cup last year was how they got off to a really slow start in the power plays. India had a very, I think the slowest run rate or the second slowest run rate among all teams in the World Cup, and they paid the price for it. But you're going for now younger players, younger openers, right? So in that case, wouldn't you want a Virat Kohli's experience in that team even come the World Cup next year?
See, we don't know why actually Virat Kohli is being rested. Maybe it is to get, like you said, unearth some new, fresh, young talent over there. Maybe also they want some other harder battles. Maybe it's the the 50-over World Cup or the test matches ahead. They want to try and rest these guys to get them fresh and raring to go. Age is a number. Okay, age is a number. It is part of the statistics. We know age slows down people, but there are so many people who are older, who are fitter than a lot of people who are younger. And I think Virat Kohli actually would come into that category where he is much fitter than some of the younger players. But what happens mentally is you need to play fearlessly. You need to take on the bowlers, and irrespective of what the situation is. And that's what T20 cricket is really about. And it's not just Kohli. But like you said a little earlier, yeah, it's wrong to bracket them together, Kohli and Rohit Sharma, because one person is firing and the other guy seems to have just fallen off quite a bit, you know. But having said that, you know, look at the opposition's reaction. If they see a Kohli there, they're still going to be worried. They know what he can do. You know, they are not going to just wait to roll over him. And you know, maybe their best bowlers they'll bring, and maybe they'll expend his overs, their best bowlers overs, trying to get Kohli out of the way, which probably will give a chance for the others not to play their best bowlers and get away. So there's a lot of strategy involved, there's a lot of planning involved, and if they're going to bring in Kohli, they have to decide how they're going to use him. Are they going to use him to go hammer and tongs at the bowlers, or are they going to use him so that he can, you know, look after the best of the opposition bowlers and ensure they finish off their overs? So there's a lot of other permutations and combinations to be worked in. But I don't think Kohli is still over. His era is over. You know, whether it's in T20 or Tests or ODIs, you know, I think he still has something to offer, and we need to wait and watch. Yes, 1 year is a long time, and it's not just physical fitness, because if it's physical fitness, I think he'll get away with it. A lot of it has to be played between the years, as they say, in the mind. And a little older can also be a little challenging, especially in a young man's game.
Absolutely. But Jamie, for Rohit Sharma, I think it's game, set and match. Would you agree, given that, you know, he hasn't really helped his case even in the IPL? We've seen what he's, you know, how he struggled to get runs. Even in international cricket, he's accepted that philosophy of being more aggressive. He's asked his team to do that, but somehow he hasn't. I mean, his strike rate's gotten better, but he just hasn't got going. It almost seems like he gets good starts, but he's unable to convert them. We saw that during the IPL and during the T20 World Cup as well.
Exactly. I think Rohit Sharma, and you're right, he has at least attempted to walk the talk. He's tried to mold his game, but unfortunately, it hasn't worked out. When it comes to Rohit Sharma, it's a slightly different case because he's also the captain, right? I think I've said it before, but if you will allow me to use the corporate business model, he was given a KRA when he was appointed captain at the start of 2022. You have three key result areas. You have to win the T20 World Cup. You have to win the One Day World Cup, and you have to win the WTC final. If you look at a captaincy aspect, he's failed in 2 out of those 3. And along the way, I think a lot of the judgment has been done because the team look, and I'm not even counting all those mindless bilaterals. India will wall up anyone in bilaterals at home. You fail to reach the final of the Asia Cup. That means you're technically the 3rd best Asian team. Somehow, with a Croc team and some luck and a bit of rain, you got your way into the T20 World Cup semi-final, but England, eventual winners, showed you how the game should be played. So Rohit Sharma has paid the price for some rather poor batting, a couple strange calls, and I think biggest factor is not winning you titles. And when you don't win titles, you have to move on. Just on the batting, while you were talking, I just brought up some stats. Because Rohit Sharma was one half of a very poor opening partnership at last year's T20 World Cup, right? England, combined winners, had a strike rate of 145.66 in the power play. South Africa 140, New Zealand 137, Ireland 129, Scotland qualifying pool 126, Sri Lanka qualifying 124, West Indies qualifying 120, India's was 113.48.
Yeah.
This is why I firmly believe that T20 World Cup, another abject performance at an ICC event, was enough for the major stakeholders of the BCI to say, you know what? Rohit and KL Rahul are not doing it. And I also put KL Rahul in that same category. Like these two, he has no business being around any T20I team which aspires to win trophies, as harsh as that may sound to all his supporters.
Okay, let's talk about the other big point from that selection announcement, and that is, while India's squad for the West Indies T20Is, it's a good mix of experience and youth. Coming out of this year's IPL success, there are a couple of names missing which have raised eyebrows. Chiefly that of Rinku Singh, arguably the best finisher of the IPL 2023, who scored 474 runs for KKR at an average of almost 60 and a strike rate touching 150. The non-selection of the best number 6 of this year's IPL has left cricket fans surprised, for it was widely believed that the 25-year-old had done enough to earn a maiden call-up to India's T20I squad. The other name, which has caught many by surprise, is Ruturaj Gaikwad, who scored 590 runs at a strike rate of 147.50 for this year's IPL winners, Chennai Super Kings. The 26-year-old has played 9 T20Is for India since he made his debut a year ago, and he was part of the previous squad. What then could be the reason for Gaikwad being dropped? Two big names which I thought, Vedam, which I thought would be in that squad. One is Rinku Singh. Everybody has been talking about it. The only reason I can see is that Hardik Pandya just didn't like Rinku hitting those 5-6s against his team and said, you know what, I don't want him in the squad. But on a serious note, I mean, India, you look at this squad, there is only one recognized finisher in Hardik Pandya. Rinku Singh would have been perfect there.
You're absolutely right. I think we missed a trick there. He should have been part of the team because he is somebody who's shown a lot of potential, and the way he's handled various situations has been very, very impressive. And we don't know if he can take this to a higher level, if he can do it at the international level. And that's why he should have been thrown in, especially against the West Indies. There's nothing to lose against them. We should have gone with him and seen if he could have taken his, fearless hitting to the next level. Had he done that, then we would have really unearthed a very, very good finisher. Having said that, I'm okay with some of the batsmen they've chosen. But I find the presence of so many spinners very baffling. I think there are about 4 or 5 spinners there in the squad. Is it because the West Indies are poor against spin bowling? I really don't know. Because even if the West Indies are poor against spin bowling, this is not the way we need to play other T20 matches. Maybe there'll be a place for 1 spinner or maximum 2 spinners. I don't see why they need 4 or 5 spinners in a squad and go along. Yeah, there's a team there for you. There are, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can see straight away 4 spinners over there. But people like Shubman Gill, if they come good, or Yashasvi Jaiswal, if they're able to step up, you'll have an outstanding opening pair. And I think it's a good idea to give them maybe 4 games or 5 games, how many games they're going to play, including the practice games, so that they gel together and maybe get ready for tougher situations. But Rinku is a big surprise.
Jimmy, a lot of people also saying that instead of Tilak Varma, maybe Rinku Singh should have been given a chance. We've already spoken about how it's a strange one given how well he's performed. Do you agree? Because, of course, the roles are very different for what Tilak Varma brings to the team and what Rinku Singh brings to the team.
Exactly. And I think that is where the answer perhaps lies. Of course, like I mentioned yesterday, there's BCCI does not feel it necessary to explain squads. But again, Rinku Singh, you do have to feel bad for him because 474 runs, average 60, strike rate 150. But that was coming at number 6, and he was always going to be struggling because India's middle order comprises Hardik Pandya, there's Sanju Samson, there's options. Whereas with Virat Kohli not around, India are in need of a number 3, and Tilak Varma primarily bats 3 and sometimes 4. So I'm not surprised. Had the competition been somewhat tougher for a number 3, I don't think Tilak Varma would have perhaps got in just purely on basis of the runs he scored. Rinku Singh was outstanding, but I don't believe that this squad is really indicative per se of where India's T20 World Cup squad is going to be 12 months from now. I believe during this transition phase, they're going to be chopping and changing because they need to figure out. And I feel that day is not far when Rinku, Jitesh Sharma, they get their call-ups. But yes, I don't think it's worth comparing. And I got a lot of comments on my own Twitter timeline and my YouTube channel saying, why Tilak Varma over Rinku Singh? And even a blind man can see it because one guy bats 3, one guy bats 6. So yes, unfortunate, but there's no point comparing those two roles. Had Rinku been a number 3 batsman, of course he would be there, but he's not. He's a finisher. And like it or not, Hardik Pandya is India's best finisher at the top level. So Rinku Singh will just have to wait a while. I have no doubt that that day is not far when he'll be part of an India squad and he'll be wearing that jersey. Because when you do things like what Rinku Singh did, it's impossible to be kept out for long.
And is it the reason, is this the reason for Ruturaj Gaikwad being excluded from this squad, given that, you know, there is Shubman Gill, they've gone in with Yashasvi Jaiswal, Vedam, there is Ishan Kishan who opens, who's been scoring runs as an opener. Is that the reason why they've said, you know what, let Ruturaj Gaikwad wait? The other thing I'm hearing is that some of these players would be selected for the series against Ireland, which starts a week, I think, after the T20I series in the West Indies and US. And probably there will be some of these names that will be part of the Asian Games squad as well, which is later on in September.
Yeah, I think so. But I think when we look at the team, a left-right combination, you know, it really has great advantages. And how do you ensure that it comes good? You need to give them as many chances as possible. Especially Jaiswal is what, 21, 22 years of age. So he deserves a long run. If he comes good right from the first ball, it's very good for Indian cricket. But otherwise also, you know he has a potential. You know he's done well in other matches. So it's better to give him a little, leeway instead of him looking over his shoulder all the time, whether a Gaikwad would come and grab his place. So I think psychologically that's a good move. It's very reassuring for a youngster like him because Shubman Gill is going to be there. So at the other end, if you can send the right message across to somebody like Jaiswal, hang on, guy, we've got you and we got full confidence in you. And we expect you to deliver. So you just give him those 2 or 3 matches. And if he comes good, then like I said earlier, you have a brilliant left-hand opening batsman, which we haven't had for quite some time. Maybe
Sure.
Gambhir was the last, maybe Shikhar Dhawan was the last. But we definitely need somebody out there who can bat left-hand right at the top. And I think when you look at all the youngsters available right now, I think Jaiswal scores about all of them. And it's fair enough that he's getting a long run.
Jamie, Rahul Tripathi, what do you make of his absence from this squad? Did nothing wrong, really.
Yeah, I think he's probably paid the price for being for not having a very good IPL this year. If you see, I believe he's played four or 5 matches. He did decently well. Nothing outstanding as such, but someone who's been so consistent for past IPL teams and on the domestic circuit for Maharashtra. But again, I mean, I think it just comes down to the IPL. I mean, you talk about Ruturaj Gaikwad. He was the 4th highest Indian batsman and in this IPL, and he's only 35 runs behind Jaiswal, right? But when Jaiswal gets 5 50s and one of them came off 13 balls, when he gets 100 and the strike rate is about 25 higher than Gaikwad, you sort of see where I actually felt bad, more bad for Gaikwad not getting being dropped, in fact, because he was part of India's last squad, then Rinku Singh not being selected. Because before this IPL, and look, 590 runs he got. I just opened up the stats while you were talking. 590 is a bloody good IPL season, right? But when Jaiswal is doing a little more, and like Vedam said, that left-hand lure, plus he's 21. I'm not saying that the Ruturaj Gaikwad is much older, but you see why he was not around. They needed a number 3. Unfortunately, Gaikwad falls in that opening slot. And with Gill being the highest run scorer, getting an international T20 100, Jaiswal doing so well, very, very harsh on him, but understandable why Gaikwad also misses out.
Okay, you were talking about the bowling, you spoke about the spinners. What about the pacers now? Avish Khan's return, Vedam, did have a very good IPL, lukewarm performance even in Vijay Hazare. You dropped him, you bring him back. There was no reason really. But you look at that squad, and you look at the bowling. It is an inexperienced bowling attack, the pace bowling attack.
See, any Indian team, I think right now, in the absence of Bumrah, your prime bowler or your main bowler would obviously be Mohammad Siraj or Mohammad Shami, one of them. Yeah, would be one of your prime bowlers, So I think where Indian fast bowling is concerned, I'm very sorry to say it, but you just round up the fittest guys and send them.
Yeah.
Avesh Khan has not been fit for quite some time, but like you correctly said, he is not delivered also in the IPL last year. But among the bowlers, yeah, he's got some potential, some talent. I would have also liked to see Mohsin Khan there because the guy is again, like I said, a left-hand fast bowler, and we need the left-hand fast bowlers also. But
Yeah.
they've gone with Arshdeep as a left-arm fast bowler. Absolutely no quarrel with that because I think the guy has got huge potential. And if he does well in this English county season that he's gone there, if he picks up a few tricks of the trade, I think he'll be a very, very handy bowler for India. But like I said, we have problems with our fast bowling, not so much in terms of quality, I feel, but certainly in terms of fitness. And whoever is fit, just pick them and send them.
Yeah, but I just also feel they're a batsman short, Jamie, bowler heavy.
Yeah. Because look, we've talked about the fact that there's 4 spinners, of which 3 are wrist spinners. I don't know. I know he's only 32, but I think this also could be a slight phasing out time now for Yuzvendra Chahal. And I'll tell you why. He's not played the last 2 T20 World Cups. He was not picked in 21, picked in 22, and did not get a game. But he's got a very good record. I am very, very glad to first of all see Ravi Bishnoi come back. But yeah, you can question why you need 4 spinners, of which 3 are wrist spinners in the West Indies. In regards to the fast bowlers, look, there's no Bumrah. Shami and Siraj have been rested, though I still feel Shami should not be part of India's T20I plans because he's not a natural T20 bowler. I know he took heaps of wickets this IPL. But look, my favorite from India domestic, Prasidh Krishna, he's not around. Deepak Chahar's not around. So I think Avesh Khan and these kind of bowlers have been picked because, look, Avesh Khan got a decent run. Some would say a long run. Wasn't that good, but there's something about him which shows. Maybe they didn't want to just throw in, some more younger bowlers. So I'm actually, yes, it's a bit surprising, but it's okay that Avesh Khan is there. A batter short, again, I just think it's because the West Indies, where India have won every single thing that they're, when it comes to bilaterals. So they probably felt, you know what? We've got Tilak, we've got Sky. He's the number 1 batsman. The guy scores hundreds at strike rates of 190. Gill can do no wrong in white ball cricket. Jaiswal is the favorite of the season. So I think it's a very calculated move, keeping in mind the next 10, 11 months. Our bowling has more problems probably because of injuries, like Vedam rightly said. So let's perhaps add a bit of extra cushion there. But I don't see Kuldeep and Chahal playing the same match. I don't see Akshar Patel maybe bowling as many overs in a T20. You only get 4. I think he's sort of been being picked as a holding player, scored some runs.
Yeah.
And Arshdeep, again, no issues. He's India's leading wicket taker last year in this format. So, and I'm also glad they've actually persisted with Umran Malik. Bowlers of that pace are rare. Yes, they're bound to give runs, but when they break the stumps, it's a thrilling sight. So I hope Umran Malik does well.
Though, the one thing that stands out for me when I look at that squad with them is how most of these bowlers cannot bat. Just if we put that squad back up, you've got a long tail.
Yeah, I suppose the only person there who can do both well
is Akshar Patel and
Hardik Pandya can do
and
both.
Akshar Patel.
Akshar Patel, yes. But again, like Jamie said, if you look at Kuldeep Yadav and if you look at Chahal, I would rather go with them in ODIs, where you need wicket takers, especially in those middle overs between the 11th and 40th over when only 4 outfielders are allowed in the out. You need wickets at that stage. Yeah, and I think the spinners are really handy at that stage, especially if we can take wickets. I'm not sure we need so many spinners, like I said, right in the beginning. And I actually don't know how they're going to manage them. They're just going to maybe rest somebody every now and then. But, that also doesn't do too much because you can bowl only 4 overs. And whatever strategy you had in match way, if it didn't work the next match, you'd like to try a different strategy. But if you're not playing, what strategy do you try out? If you have something else in mind. So it's not going to work out. I would rather prefer that they had a lean, mean bowling attack And maybe batsmen. See, why I mentioned batsmen is you need to push each other for place. That is very important, especially in the middle order and little later. If everybody gets too comfortable that there's nobody else around, whether I succeed or not, I'm going to be there, and play crazy shots. See, it's all good to play great shots, but sometimes you play irresponsible shots too, or run irresponsibly. And that is not the right sign to, the right message to give the others. So I would prefer that they would have been pushed for places where batting is concerned, especially the middle order, because like I said, I had my own qualification for the opening slots because I want Jaiswal to come good. I want Shubman Gill to come good. And the only way they can come good is to give them a lot of chances, But middle order, yes, I feel they should have pushed them rather than just let them go and instead put all the onus and thrust on the bowlers, which is what they've done.
Yeah, because I look at that, Jamie, it almost seems like they were thinking that there's an impact sub rule in this T20I series. Where are your bowling all-rounders? I mean, there is just Akshar Patel and there's Hardik Pandya, and Hardik Pandya does not bowl very often.
Agreed. I have no doubt that Washington Sundar is going to play a lot of cricket across 3 formats because in a decent sample size across 3 formats, he's done very, very little wrong. But that said, it's barely been a few weeks that he just returned after another. Unfortunately, like Rohit Sharma, Bumrah, Chahar, he's very injury prone, But his stats speak for themselves across 3 formats. He's a massive asset. He would definitely have been there had he not just, been away for 3 months. I think he recently returned to the TNPL. So he's making all the right signs. Probably it's a matter of a month or 2 when he'll be back in India's next squad. And again, Ravindra Jadeja has been rested. Let's not forget. So normally there'd be far more all-rounders. Shardul Thakur has been rested because he's part of the one-day and the test team. And I just think they're, again, given how poor West Indies are, especially in the white ball formats, they've not picked the best possible squad. They also want to, give guys a chance. Had this been a tougher opposition, had this been closer to the World Cup, you would have seen at least three more bowling all-rounders. So I wouldn't read too much into the absence of all-rounders for this series.
Sure, no, I get it. But are you surprised that there's no Deepak Hooda in that? Is it because he just had the most horrible IPL season?
Deepak Hooda had a very, very set role. He was doing well when they removed. When I say they, I'm talking about the Indian team. When they shoved him into a different role and he failed, it's just they have themselves to blame. You cannot blame him. He got 100 batting at number 3. He was selected to bat at number 3 for India because he scored most of his runs from 3 last year for Lucknow Super Giants. You suddenly change someone who's batting at 3, ask him to bat at 6, 7. It's a very different role. It's one of the roles which is the most scrutinized in the history of cricket across teams. Very, very few have managed to succeed at number 6, number 7, right? It's like asking Rinku Singh tomorrow to go open, and after 5 matches he fails.
Exactly.
You've lost him. So unfortunately, the Indian, and especially Rohit Sharma, I think he bowled him twice in like 10 T20Is. The guy is a wicket taker. So in regards to Deepak Hooda, yes, he had a terrible IPL, but ask the question, why did he have a terrible IPL? Because the mistakes with the Indian team, which they did to him, the same things were then being done by his IPL franchise. And unfortunately, it seems to me, I don't know him from Adam, it seems like you've lost a fantastic all-rounder to the system, and he just looks a broken player now. So Rohit Sharma, Rahul Dravid, that combination has a lot to answer for how they utterly ruined Deepak Hooda's international career.
Okay, let's also talk about Jitesh Sharma, another name missing from that squad, and people were talking about how he probably was going to get an opportunity. He was there in the previous squad before the IPL. How do you see that, Vedam? Was it always going to be difficult? Because he did prove himself in the IPL. I mean, he scored 309 runs, striking at 156, batted well. But with Ishan Kishan and Sanju Samson, again, the same problem to fit him in as a wicketkeeper batter?
In many ways, yes, but also in many ways, no. Because I think that position is still unsettled, even for the Indian team. If Pant was there, I would say, yes, it's a done and dusted position. But right now, that's still a very unsettled position for the Indian team. And what I feel is there will be a lot of changes. not just in this, even in the other coming matches for the next 1 year. I think they will try a lot of other cricketers, and I think that is one of the positions which they would be keen on trying to fill up. I'm not so sure if Ishan Kishan is the man for it or Sanju Samson is the man for it. I think we still need to cast our net wide, and maybe Sharma is the guy for it. But having said that, we still have a lot of matches. So I think we should keep an open mind about this and see how some of these chats actually fit in. Maybe they would fit in, but definitely at the international level, we still need to give a lot of chances. Both we are under 23 cricketers, whom I think their wicket keeper is 28 or 29, and also these teams.
Okay, then let's move on to the Ashes. Third test started today in Headingley with England winning the toss and choosing to field, and they got off to a good start. They are in control on day one. Jamie, 102 for 4. They went into lunch at 91 for 4. Mark Wood, gentlemen, both of you have been talking about Mark Wood. How good was that opening spell, Jamie? I mean, 146 to 150 plus. When you're bowling like that, it was always going to be difficult, and Australian batters found it the hard way.
Absolutely, and that ball to Usman Khwaja, who's been the best batsman across both teams, he had no idea what happened there. And that's the kind of thing, and we've been talking about the need for pace. When you have, through your own insistence on baseball, like I said yesterday, when you've negated the supreme skill and experience of Jimmy Anderson and reduced him to being basically a trundler, you had no option but to finally get rid of him at the venue where he's been so successful. And that shot of pace, I mean, everyone has talked about that, the need for pace. And Mark Wood is now back in the team. He spoke before the toss on how keen he was, how geared up he was to do well, and to produce a fast bowling spell like that, and to bowl the best batsman on both teams. Fantastic start. Unfortunately, England just keep dropping catches. About 7-8 minutes ago, Joe Root dropped Marsh again while we were talking. So Johnny Bairstow has dropped 2 catches already. So terrible fielding side, this baseball team.
But one good thing is that they are in control on day one, because any other way, and we would have said, you know what, if Australia win this one, it's really game over with them. So in that way, this is good to see that Australia are 4 down. We need England to win this just to keep this series alive.
I agree with you for purely selfish reasons. That if England win, then we'll have a lovely series. And if England lose, the series is done and dusted. It's over. Absolutely. For selfish reasons, I hope England wins this test. Okay. But having said that, look at the pitch. The pitch has really played a key factor. In fact, even Cummins said if he had won the toss, he would have preferred to bowl. So which means there's a lot of juice in the pitch, and at last, England's bowlers had a pitch which they could exploit, and they really needed it because they just gave them dead wickets. And England, I think one of the reasons they kept Mark Wood out, yeah, he was not fully fit, but also I think they wanted these tall, fast bowlers. And Mark Wood is not right there. He's not the tallest. Robinson may be bowling at the late 70s or 80 kilometers per hour, but they've kept him. But otherwise, I would have said that, Anderson instead of Robinson would have been the ideal choice on this kind of pitch, And of course, you need 2 fast bowlers like Vokes and Wood. And Broad is doing well on his own, even on other pitches. So I think England, for once, have got a good attack on a good pitch. But if Australia had first use as bowlers on this pitch, I shudder to think what this English batsman would have done. I think by now there would have been 6 or 7 down already. So I think the pitch is a thing, but whether that life would last long on this pitch, that's what we'd like to see. But definitely, like you said, I want England to win.
Okay, we've been talking about the spirit of cricket. Wasn't very nice to boo a player who's entering the field of play in his 100th test. Too bad Steve Smith couldn't do much in the first innings. Hopefully he'll come back and bat better in the second. But thank you so much, Vedam Jaishankar and Jamie Alter, for joining us here. It's always fun to have you on the show. That's it from us. How do you like our programming? Do let us know in the comment section below. All the latest from the world of sports right here on Game On our channel News9 Live. So subscribe to the channel, hit the like button if you like what we do. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.
BrahMos, stealthy, lethal, precise. It flies at 3 times the speed of sound and cuts through a warship like a hot knife through butter. China's navy has threatened its neighbors, and they are turning to the